Hello everyone, my name is Alan and this is the Cancer Know. So since the last time I've spoken to you, I now have a date for my operation. It's the 14th of this month, next Wednesday. I'm going to be there for 7 o'clock in the morning. That could be a bit of a challenge. As you can see, I'm out of breath quite a lot today. And that's been coming and going for the last couple of days. I want to make sure I don't get any type of chest infection. I had my pre-op yesterday, where I met all the team, the doctors, the nurses, the surgeon. So everyone that's going to be involved really in the operation. At the end of it, I then met and spoke with my consultant. It was a little bit alarming, to be fair. So originally, when I seen the CT where the cancer is, to me it looked quite small and really didn't look like it was a problem. But he told me that it was the size of maybe a grape. But since then, actually, it's more the size of a small satsuma. So it's no longer going to be, they're going to remove a piece of my lung at the top. They're now just going to remove the whole upper lobe of my right lung. So that's a bit more, well, quite a bit more than what I first thought. They're still hoping to do it by keyhole, and that way it won't be sort of a bigger and major surgery. But alongside that, it's a little bit strange really. I've had what I can only call a cyst on what I believe is the bag around your heart for a number of years. It's never really caused any problems or issues. But he's suggested that while he's in doing the operation, he's going to try and remove that as well, if he can access it safely and easily. And I think the reason he wants to do that is, seemingly it's quite close to where the cancer is, and he'd just rather take away any chance whatsoever that could be a factor. It just might mean a little bit longer to recover, and something else to be sort of aware of. So he went sort of through how he feels it'll go. So the operation can take anywhere between 2 to 6 hours, depending on how, where, why, usual really. After that then, I'll have a drain. And usually it's hospitalisation for between 2 to 5 days. He can't see it being any longer than that. Generally I hope it's not. And in some cases it can be 2 days. But I'm sort of going to err on the caution of maybe between 3 and 4 days. Once that's done, there's a possibility I might be able to come home with the drain still attached, if that needs be. And then from there, get it removed a week later, as long as everything's okay. Again, that'll be decided by an x-ray. He then told me some news that really, really woke me up. He told me if I'd have waited a couple of more months, there wouldn't have been anything they would have been able to do for me. Now, as you can imagine, where I am now compared to where I could have been is a whole different ballgame. And I want to thank everyone. I mean, when I first started doing this, as I said, I was doing it for me, and I was doing it for my own sort of feelings and getting them out there, and maybe helping one or two others that may be going through the same thing. But I've got to say, the amount of people that have been on here, I mean, hundreds. I just can't believe. I'm overwhelmed. I truly am. Messages of support and people I don't know, just come on, fight it, battle it. So I truly, truly am very, very thankful to everybody. I also want to thank my family, because I know it's been really difficult for them. And they've been amazing. All my friends, everyone that supported me, again, the people at the hospital, the surgeons, the whole team, amazing, amazing. And I just can't thank people enough. But there's one more person I want to thank, and unfortunately I don't know who she is. I'm just going to take you back a little bit. So at the end of October is really when I started to realise something was wrong. I started coughing, and then after a few days I started spitting up blood. I mentioned it to someone who I work with, who just happened to be a next sort of ambulance driver, paramedic. And to my wife, to sort of the same day, and they're both like, well, you need to get to the GP. When I went to the GP sent me for an x-ray. And when I went for that x-ray, at the end of it, the lady at reception said to me, you're going to get a phone call, and they're just going to ask you some questions. And it's that phone call that I think almost certainly saved my life. The lady was asking me questions, and the very, very last question she asked me was, are you spitting up blood? And I said to her, yes, I am. And from there, she then decided to give me a CT. Within a week, I went back to my doctor for another signal, and he said to me, well, actually something showed up on that CT, and we need to send you for more tests. And then from that more tests, that's how they established that it was cancer. So really, that girl who decided I needed a further CT has done me the biggest favour that I could never, ever, ever repay. And I don't know if I'll ever find you. And if you ever get to see this, thank you ever so much. I'll never be able to thank you enough. And I spoke to my consultant about this, and he did sort of say to me, well, that was a lucky break you got. He actually showed me the very first x-ray, and there is nothing on there whatsoever that would make anyone think there's anything wrong. Nothing was noticed, nothing was seen. It was an x-ray of my chest, and as far as they were concerned, they didn't see anything wrong. It was that further CT is when they noticed something, and then from there I had another CT, and that's when they actually realised, yes, this needs a lot more investigation, hence the diagnosis with the cancer. Like I've said, certainly over the last couple of days, I've been really struggling to breathe from time to time. I find I'm using my inhaler a lot more. But what I have found, I seem to struggle a lot more in the really cold air. I mean, I don't know if that's something similar or not. I don't know. Yesterday, while I was in the waiting room, I got speaking to a gentleman who's more or less got the same thing as I have. Only at the very start, he went for chemotherapy, which unfortunately hasn't worked for him. And then now he needs an operation to actually remove his whole lung. Now he said, a little bit like me, he started to notice when he was coughing, he was spitting up blood, but he didn't really think too much of it. So I just want to say to anybody out there, we all know our own bodies, and if you feel there's something wrong, please go to your GP. Just go. If it's nothing to worry about. But if it is something, catching it in the early stages, hopefully like they have with me. I mean, it's still to be determined once they've removed that lobe in my upper right lung, whether or not I need any more treatment after that. That's still got to be established. But please, 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 if you feel there's something wrong or something's not quite right, then go to the GP. You know, like I said, the earlier they can catch things like this, the lot better the chance. And when my consultant told me if it would have been a couple of months more, then that would have been it. There wouldn't have been anything else to help me with. So that just shows how important it is to get out there and look after yourself and be aware. Like I said, when I first started doing this, I did this for me, for my own peace. And again, I'm just overwhelmed by the amount of people that have sort of viewed it and commented on it. And I really, really am appreciative of that. So now it's all about the operation on the 14th. I'm looking forward to it. Of course, I'm a little bit scared, but I'm also very, very positive now. Yeah, when I look back at the first video I did, and even the second one, and I could even see in myself how stressed I was and how worried I was. Don't get me wrong, I still have a bit of stress and I still have a bit of doubt, but now that I have a plan, now there's a date for the operation, and hopefully going forward, knowing what to do and where I am with that. This is probably going to be my last video until after the operation. And then once the operation's done, I'll try and do them as soon as possible after the operation. If I feel up to it, I might actually do it in the hospital, but I'll wait and see how I am. So once again, I want to thank every single one of you for helping and supporting me.